As we all recognize, artificial intelligence is no longer a future concept. It is actively reshaping how we generate evidence, support decision-making, and engage with policies and healthcare systems. Today's talk will explore how these digital capabilities are being applied in practice, and importantly, what this means for quality, safety, and trust in our field. Please join me in welcoming our speaker, Dr. Mark Lightoller. Mark has had around 30 years in pharmaceutical industry and engaging in different aspects of the life cycle management. But more importantly, in the last 10 years, he's been engaged with AI and how we as an industry use AI to navigate our way around this ever-growing field, almost on a daily or even shorter time change. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, I'll leave you with Dr. Lightoller.
Probably like you, there isn't a single conversation that goes on through the day where we don't have some kind of conversation about either today's present use of AI or where AI is taking us in the future. We run a module on digital technology and medicines development and delivery, and that course is going to be running again at the end of the year. And what we have on here is a taster of some of the conversations that go in. It's an ever-evolving field. It's never the same. It's very much a driven conversation from the participants who are in the course. We spend a lot of time working on what's going on a day-to-day basis and trying to get an opinion about what pharmaceutical and AI worlds are going to be in the future. I obviously am leading today, but I don't think any of us are what we would call full-on experts in these fields because they're evolving so quickly. I've used this slide for maybe the last 10 years, and I still think it's current. And I think it comes from what used to be a vision to probably more a reality over those last 10 years. And the premise that we talk about is where we're taking medicine for patients and patient outcomes. And of course, what we want to do is to be preventative. If we could run preventative medicine, we would do. Of course, there are challenges alongside that. But if we could prevent diseases, that, of course, would be the best outcome. Some diseases we've managed to get into that dimension, or at least potential. But many falling behind, we can be predictive. We can be predictive when they start, how they change, and avoid things along the way. The bottom two, I think we've all been working on for the last 20 odd years. And that's to understand the personalized approach to medicine and the precision approach to medicine. When we think about how to turn things off and on, when to start therapy, when to change therapy, when to add therapy, and then which therapy is going to work for me rather than the population. All of those, I think, are well known to everyone in the audience. But the one thing I think that connects us is those are really only possible when we start to pull in large amounts of data. Each one of those requires terabytes of data about us and about other people, and cloud computing that's accessible and available to be able to do something about them. And I think that's where AI, and over the course of the last 20 years at least, but definitely in the last 5 odd years, we've made some big advances, and I want to come into some of those. The final pitch here, I think, also for our way of thinking about AI and its utility is to get us out of what we call this serial simplicity. As we all went to universities and learned chemistry, physics, biology, sciences, we all learned the serial simplistic way of A plus B leads to C, when in reality we know in systems biology that we should really be thinking in parallel complexity, many things happening with causality at the same time. And that's never been really available to us until we started to have the compute power that we have now to be able to look at things like the microbiome and to be able to understand where and how these complex systems are starting from to cause, to manage, and to deliver and ultimately change disease and disease causes. The two things I think that we need to bring through our minds is this change in philosophy, moving from what we would call sick care, waiting until people were sick, to healthcare and managing people's wellness, and using that through a large amount of understanding and data and complexity science, and moving away from this serial simplicity mindset.